Thank you for your patience. And now we will move on to our closing session. Throughout the entire annual meeting program, we had 11 sessions and keynote session. All sessions are available on demand, so please take advantage of these features to view the sessions that interest you. Now I'd like to introduce the chair of ICEF Steering Committee, Mr. Tanaka Nobuo, who will be moderating the closing session. So Mr. Tanaka, please take the floor.
Okay, thank you very much. We have 30 minutes to close. This is a lineup of whole committee member of steering committee. So this is last year we did it, but basically we ask all of the steering committee members, what is your take from this year's ICEF meeting? So, and especially Hosen is certainly used to be the chair of the IPCC. So he should have say something a little more than 2 minutes. So I will give a little more time for you. But for other persons, just keep your statement within 1 minute. Go ahead.
Well, as a chair of IPCC, when I served the AR6, we were very much trained very well to keep our session within time limits. Not necessarily about keeping our activities within carbon budget, but the time budget, we can be able to manage that. Well, let me give you my take away from these sessions. We had 11 sessions, and I characterized it as several for cross-cutting matters and then the energy sectors. I briefly want to give you, using my extra 2 minutes, what I take away from this energy sector discussions, and then I will give some thought about the cross-cutting matters. For the energy sectors, I found that the energy system that we need is a system. The system is that can provide a 24/7 carbon-free firm-level service with affordability. I believe that should be the system that we should look for. And I believe also that this is the minimum requirement for the world to achieve. And very much so far, all the discourse on these matters are particularly looking at these individual energy sources. That's fine, that's our discipline. But at the end of the day, we need to think about how these individual matters will coalesce around to make a system workable with affordability and reliability. And what matters is not particular energy sources, but emissions, and that emissions has to go down toward net zero. In that sense, I think the carbon dioxide removal technologies will become much more important. I want to emphasize that. For my remarks about the cross-cutting matters, very interesting there, and I grouped several sessions into cross-cutting matters. That is the keynote, and then carbon neutrality and security, and then adaptation, and also then the roadmap, and the last one, circular economy. I also categorized that as one of the group of these cross-cutting matters. Despite the deep uncertainty about the geopolitical dynamics, I found that all speakers at the stage with very different background and different expertise and different nationalities, to my mind, they come to a common ground, common understanding that we need to achieve a triple breakthrough, borrowing from the Japanese policymakers' terminology. That is, the reduce emission growth, increase economic growth, and then increase energy security, regardless of the uncertainty about this geopolitical, et cetera. I found that was very comforting, and also that put me into some optimistic side about, we should be able to achieve this 1.5 trajectory. Maybe we may be late achieving global peaking. However, if we keep patient, then we should be able to use a lot of CDR at affordable price, and then we'll be able to keep the Earth temperature somewhat close to 1.5 by the end of the century. All right, that's the IPCC message too. I have 1 minute. Yeah, okay, 1 minute left. Okay, yeah, sure, right, okay. And the collaboration, we had a lot, and there I also emphasized that adaptation requires a collaboration in the sense of financial assistance, especially this is adaptation question is about adaptation in the developing countries. And I think it's stupid to have a result that for the developing countries to have adaptation, they incur additional debt. I think that's nonsense. They're already burdened with enormous debt. And so the question is how to reduce their national debt, at the same time increase the adaptation investment. That's the key. A roadmap, very informative, and I believe you will do another work on this data center questions. I see some some remaining workspace there. So congratulations on that. The circular economy, very interesting. Probably for the first time to hear from the actors on the front line, discussing the nitties and gritties and details about this task in the circular economy, very informative. But at the same time, I found that we need some discourse, some conversation about a policy level. And just 15 months ago, there was a very important study released that analyzing the circular economy by analyzing 221 different definitions of circular economy, you see? Definitions are 221. And what they found was that, let me just quote for 5 seconds.
Thank you. You still have something to say?
Yeah, just the last sentence.
No, I think we should go ahead. Sorry, I will give you a second round. Asia, you have 2 minutes to go.
Okay. We notice different things because we have different backgrounds. I have a background of a European lawmaker, and therefore I truly appreciate the value of these ICF meetings because they allow us to be genuinely honest about the problems we face and open about the innovations we need. I heard yesterday an extremely inspiring phrase here from MIT professor Evelyn Wong. She said, what is needed now are discovery-driven innovations. And as a former environmental and climate lawmaker, I immediately understood the value of her comment. I know that a great risk in environmental legislation is mistakenly believing that the world is ready and that everything necessary is already conceptually in place. In such cases, there is a huge risk that the legislation is outdated already when it's there. And what is worse, we can even form a barrier to genuinely new innovations. That often results in lazy policy-driven innovation, not discovery-driven innovation. And this is precisely why this forum is needed, to open our eyes to both the profound constraints and the immense opportunities that lie beyond the current planning horizon. We should be ready to be surprised by new findings. Thank you.
Thank you, Asia. John, 2 minutes.
Thank you, Chair. So I'm going to comment about the carbon neutrality and security, which Hosin said, has energy security with this triple lock alongside economic growth and CO2 reduction. And a few conclusions. One was different countries have different pathways. It's very simple to say, but it means it's very, very important that people understand that there's very, very different pathways that each country is going to choose. That means the energy sources that each country has will be different. And therefore, what security really means is for your country. You have to really define a framework on a country-by-country basis, because if you're looking at gas, it's whether is it domestic or is it imported. If it's renewables, how much of that are you going to, be constructing? If it's batteries, where in the supply chain are you? So it's important to think about your pathway and your energy sources and security. We then talked a lot about relationships, because if you have different energy sources, you're going to rewire to have new relationships. So we talked about AZEC as one example of new groupings for people to manage. And finally, we talked about how to do that where you may need to change internally. So we use the example of Korea creating climate change, environment, and energy department. So bringing all of those together, which have been maybe more disparate, is something you need to do internally in order to manage and rewire the network you need to create energy security.
Thank you, John. Very good points. Ismail, I know what you are going to say. Just tell us 1 minute.
Shall I pass on the microphone to someone? Yes. First of all, I want to say it was a wonderful session. I enjoyed very much. I learned a lot from all the presentations. All the sessions were really excellent. But again, as you know, I'm going to say that we missed discussing what I think is one of the most important things which we can do, which is the transformation of the agriculture and food sector, where we have 30% wastage rates right now, and where it's contributing between 25 and maybe more % of greenhouse gases, including methanes and CO2. It is nature's own system of carbon capture and sequestration. And with the new tools that we have today, the speed with which we can implement these changes, we can do many things, not just to flip over a sector from being a contributor to greenhouse gases to being a carbon sequestration machine, but more importantly also, we will deal with the issues of extreme poverty and hunger and increase efficiency all around the planet. And I think that this is a feasible strategy, and I pointed out before the enormous success that was done with the technology, infrastructure, and communications of the 1960s in dealing with all of India and the Green Revolution. And today, with our technology, our infrastructure, and our communication, we should be able to do much better for the rest of the world.
Vali, thank you. Thank you, Vali. Next, Vali. Yes, thank you, Ismail. I'm sorry. Vali, you have the floor.
Thank you very much. I've got 2 points to make. The first is, I think that your opening remarks, Tanaka-san, were rather profound and extremely interesting, and I think it gives us a new way of thinking. I'd never heard of this paradigm of petrostates and electrostates, and the manner in which you described the United States as a leader of the petrostates in the world. That was something new for me, quite accurate, obviously, and quite interesting. And I think you were bold and courageous, and this is perhaps...
Now Naki is saying proton states.
Yeah. And I think Rita is correct that this is a platform where we can, including you, speak openly about these things. You're not a diplomat, so you could be quite frank about how you see it. The second point I'd like to make, notwithstanding Ho-Sang Lee's optimism, global warming is happening and climate change is happening and will continue to happen. And what I find remarkable, and again coming out of the session I was involved in, is what little emphasis we have on adaptation. Particularly in poorer countries, you find poorer countries and African countries thinking a lot about mitigation when frankly we have nothing to mitigate, actually. And one of the reasons for that is adaptation does not lend itself to catchy terms like net zero and carbon neutral. And I do hope that in the future we would be able to focus on innovation in this regard. Thank you.
Thank you, Vali. Naki.
Yes, thank you. So I think it's on. I think one of the takeaways I have is that, against the backdrop that I think almost everybody said the world is fundamentally changing, we might be on the brink of the new world order, I found that this ICEF was different from the previous ones, and I think it was good so. I think we talk explicitly about the broader setting of how to achieve net zero and the cool Earth. So let me just make also just a couple of comments. The first one is that I think it's good also that we have our fixed topic, namely innovation. But the difference was that this time we talked in the broader sense. It was not just technological, also economic, social, and so on. So we had a multi-dimensional perspective on the innovation. The other thing I heard is that in many sessions that this is not a linear process. We have to think interactively, involve many agents and actors, stakeholders, academic, business, and I think that was reflected in the sessions. So that's why I like the meeting quite a lot. Then I think that the topics that came up in addition to adaptation, I would fully agree with that, was the investment as the critical thing and how to de-risk the investment in the right direction. I think it's one of the huge challenges, and maybe I conclude just by highlighting again that many sessions also had the theme how to enhance the demand and how to reflect human behavior in the way forward toward the cool Earth. So I enjoyed this ICEF very much and learned a lot. Thanks.
Good, Nanki. Thank you. Kuroda Sensei.
Yes, thank you. This year's theme is innovation for GX and security, and I hope next year we don't have to worry too much about geopolitical fragmentation. Regarding the GX, I think the global wind and solar generation surpassed the coal for the first time, and also the cost for solar and panel or battery systems has dramatically dropped the last 10 decades. That's really very good news. But of course, we have to do the scale up for the finance and other things. But as a scientist, I have to just remind you one thing, is you have to think about the life cycle assessment for the new technologies, lifespan, durability, recyclability, and so on. So before scaling up, we have to add that part as well. But I'm really encouraged about the new innovation, new technology, and for that, international collaboration is important.
Thank you, Kuroda Sensei. Sally, go ahead.
Thank you. At this year's ICEF meeting, there was an undercurrent of disappointment and disapproval of the U.S. withdrawal from the Paris Agreement, drill, baby, drill, and encouragement of reopening of coal mines. While all this is true, it really does not tell the full story of what's happening in the United States today. In particular, many states are leading on climate innovation and decarbonization. I live in California, which is now the 4th largest economy in the world, after the US, China, and Germany. It has decoupled economic growth from carbon emissions. California is a leader in climate innovation, both with mitigation and adaptation. Just to give you a short example, the electricity system has had 50% reduction in emissions. We have 49 gigawatts of solar, 16 gigawatts of lithium-ion batteries. Sometimes lithium-ion batteries are the single largest source of electricity to the entire state of California, which is truly extraordinary. We have 60% emission-free power, 25% of EV sales for new vehicles, and lots of policy innovation in mitigation and adaptation, cap and trade, low-carbon fuel standard, investing in grid hardening for adaptation, supporting life cycle extension on nuclear power plants, preparing for 100 million tons per year of carbon management at a statewide level. Not only that, it is a thriving innovation ecosystem, and where I live in Northern California, we have over 1,200 startups working in all these areas. So thank you.
Thank you, Sally. You have to tell that to your president. Thank you. Vakram.
So I have several messages very quickly. First is this ICEF reinforced in me the optimism that people recognize that we can't develop now and clean up later. We are headed towards an abyss, a crisis, and we have to address that crisis. Second, that the technologies that we are working on, that people are working on, will provide us a solution. There's an umbrella of technologies. We have to work on all of that together. There is no linearity. in the approach we take. The third is that we know what needs to be done, but the challenges of actually implementing policy is common across most technologies, and those are related to costs, they're related to institutions for effective implementation. The supply chain model is complex, financing is difficult. However, we do know what needs to be done, and that 2 or 3 things, like we need to collaborate in order to address these challenges, and we must make sure that we don't reach or we don't go beyond our grasp, let's say. And in that context, my last point is that rather than set ourselves a very ambitious destination and only focus on the destination, we must also address the first step. We need to take the first step in a positive way and generate the momentum required to take a second larger step and thereby progress down the route towards our destination.
Thank you, Vikram. David, congratulations for the beautiful roadmap, by the way. Go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. This is the 12th Innovation for Cool Earth Forum. 12 is a very significant number in cultures all around the world. I think probably because there's 12 lunar months in a solar year. So we have 12 months, we have 12 signs of the zodiac in both Eastern and Western cultures. We have 12 Greek gods, 12 Shinto gods. So at this momentous occasion, I want to reflect on how we're doing on innovation and cool Earth. I think we're doing pretty well in innovation in many ways. 12 years ago, the cost of solar power was what? 8 times what it is today, roughly, on a per watt basis. The cost of wind power was maybe 4 times as much. The cost of storage was some significant multiple more. And then it's just remarkable to think about the innovation that we've had in artificial intelligence in the past 12 years. 12 years ago, a human could still beat the best machine in Go. It wasn't until 2017 that AlphaGo beat Lee Sedol. And of course, ChatGPT didn't exist even, the company hadn't been formed and ChatGPT didn't exist. So the technology has been described, I think one of the metaphors I like is steam. It's steam that seeps throughout everything, and it's innovation, I think, that's going to change a lot of what we're working on. So I think we've had some successes. We've had less success in other areas of energy with respect to innovation, but in some areas we're doing quite well. We're not doing very well on cool Earth. The 11 warmest years ever recorded were the last 11 years. So despite all the progress we're making in innovation, we still have a lot to do. And so I think the next 12 years of the Innovation for Cool Earth Forum are going to be very important for all of us.
Thank you, David. Sakano-san, congratulations for the really wonderful startups and circular economy. That's the best session of whole ICEF. I strongly
Thank you. I hope everyone enjoyed the fun time. Yes, thank you very much. From my side, I really, of course, enjoyed bringing in new topics and then bringing in like different personalities in the stage, but this is actually my 2nd year as a steering committee, 3rd year as a speaker on this conference. Just comparing past few years, I feel that so this year's theme is innovation for green transformation and security. Last year was how to live within the planetary boundaries through green innovation, and then I'm not sure if it to do with the topic of security or more like energy security focus in general, but I feel that we have less female and less youth representative this year for the speakers. I need to ask the secretariat for the actual number, but looking at the first keynote, of course, but all male presenters in black suits was quite shocking. And then I'm proudly saying that last panel I had for the circular economy and startup was the only panel with more dominant of female presenters. So I see there's a balance, but also the misbalance between how we are trying to make all this environment here as a steering committee to be more diverse, and then definitely the diversity is one source for innovation. So how do we make sure that will happen? So well, in Japan we are expecting hopefully the female prime minister to come very soon. Then I have, of course, agreement and disagreement in terms of the politics, but making sure it does not fail. Then I mean that we shouldn't let people say that it was failure or potential failure only because it was female, right? So how do we make sure as a society that kind of situation to make sure happen is quite a key, even looking at the current situation of the society, and then that's the representative of what we just saw in this conference. So maybe I should ask, both, not only the speakers or like how we set up the panel, but also, representative from the METI and NEDO to also have at least one female speakers every year of the conference. Would be the next target I would recommend. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Sakano-san. Yes, the number is male is 40 and female is 16. So definitely this, gender balance is not really good this time. Next one, we should make it much, much better. Thank you for your comment. Chanwa.
Yes, thank you, Chair. I definitely, first of all, echo great points mentioned already by colleagues on the stage. Let me share my highlight takeaway from 3 dimensions there. The backdrop of ICEF 2025 is a challenging one, as mentioned already, and we are already living in the 1.5 degrees Celsius warming world already. And today, actually, our last year's keynote speaker, Johan Rockström's team, just announced another devastating sort of information that out of the 9 planetary Earth life support system, we just crossed the 7th one, which is ocean acidity. We already passed 6 before. But that also tells the second point, actually, is really how important ICEF 2025 is, or this platform is. While we talked a lot about technology innovations in a very diverse way, but I think the depth actually is more around decoding the complexity of those systems, ecosystems, in terms of how to scale, how to accelerate scaling in order to really address the issues there. So a few words, I think that the consensus, one is a system and ecosystem. I think we mentioned a lot. The second dimension is about synergy and alignment. And the third one is really about accountability and interoperability. So those are the 6 keywords actually I also took to my heart actually through the 2-day discussion. Lastly, I do want to bring China to the conversation as well. And as we all shared already, China is really leading, gearing ahead with the global clean energy revolution. But somehow, yesterday and today, one key question on my mind is really how to bring an actor like China at that scale to the ICEF actually platform. I think that's a question I need to figure out together with the colleagues. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chanwa. George.
Yeah, thank you very much. Today, environmental, geopolitical, and economic challenges are supposedly larger than in the past, in the recent past. And ICEF, to my view, has very well reacted on these new challenges. And by 3 aspects. One is the discussions had been more realistic and honest. Second, I learned a lot of new innovative ideas and suggestions, so that means the proposals we are made are more rich. And third, I heard very often the word of collaboration, in particular the word collaboration between Japan and Korea. And as I was married to a wife from France as a German, and we made 400 years wars between Germany and France. And today we can marry together.
Yes. Maybe after 40 years we will marry, but Yamaji-sensei, go ahead.
Oh, thank you very much. I think we have had many stimulating discussions in this ICEF 2025. I have noted several keywords, and let me pick up just two. One is the battle of energy and climate. So at the opening session, our chairman, Tanaka-san, describing the current difficult situation as battle of energy and climate. Oh yes, I think we are facing difficult challenge both in energy security and climate stabilization. We should sustain cool Earth, and for that, we ourselves also should be cool. So most important keyword of ICEF is innovation. We should explore various feasible pathways by innovations. And second is innovation in adaptation. Adaptation is one of the key themes of ICEF 2025. And Dr. Hoson Lee clearly explained the importance and challenge of adaptation. As he told, we need innovation in adaptation and clear definition of adaptation. Adaptation is a very important climate response. There is many co-benefits to adaptations, like disaster management or modernization of agriculture. But without clear definition adaptation, climate response adaptation could be a minor co-benefit. We should avoid that. So how to focus on effective climate adaptation by the adaptation finance, we need innovation. And in addition to these, there are many challenges, opportunities, but I will skip for the time's sake. So keep going on the road to the carbon neutrality with innovation.
Thank you. The time is up, but well, 2 days ago, we started discussing about the statements of this steering committee. And we were very pessimistic at the time because of we made a progress, but that the challenge is very high. So 1.5 degrees Celsius target is impossible, and many people say it's almost we aborted this kind of target. But maybe after 2 days of discussion, and especially with the young startups discussion, I'm getting a little bit more optimistic for the future. And I wish that this kind of feeling could be shared by all of our steering committee members as well as the audience until these 2 days. Thank you very much of your contribution to the ICEF meeting, and it was a really wonderful time we had spent together. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tanaka, Dr. Lee, and all the steering committee members. We truly appreciate your inspiring comments. So I would like to ask every committee members to rise. Okay, so let's send them with a big round of applause. Thank you so much for the insightful comment. Thank you. So please step down from the podium as we're changing the stage layout. So now, Professor Dr. Yamaji Kenji, ICEF Steering Committee member, will address the Steering Committee's statement. So Professor Dr. Yamaji, please take the floor.
Thank you. It's my great pleasure to be able to report the ICEF 2025 Steering Committee statement. I express my deep gratitude to the tremendous efforts and contributions by steering committee members and secretariat. I think, yes. So, under the main theme of innovation for green transformation, GX and security, the 12th annual meeting of the Innovation for Cool Earth Forum, ICEF 2025, was convened on October 8th to 9th, 2025 in Tokyo and online. ICEF remains unique in its decade-long dedication to advancing innovation across technology, policy, institutions, finance, and society to accelerate the global transition toward a carbon-neutral, resilient, just, secure, and affordable future. First, where we stand, the urgency is undeniable. With the world already surpassing 1.5 degrees C of warming, escalating climate impacts from record-breaking heat waves and catastrophic flood to prolonged drought make clear that the window for effective action is closing rapidly, and progress and challenges coexist. For the first time, global wind and solar power generation surpassed coal in 2025, and cost of solar, wind, and battery systems have been reduced by 60% to 90% over the past decade. Yet, progress is uneven. Misalignment between policy, finance, governance, and innovation, combined with geopolitical and geoeconomic fragmentation, is slowing down the scaling of infrastructure and complicating international cooperation. Climate ambition remains insufficient. Collective ambition remains off track from a Paris-aligned trajectory. The missed February 2020 of this year's NDC deadline by many countries highlights the persistent ambition implementation gap. At COP30 in Brazil, it is expected to focus on adaptation. The multilateral process risks fragmentation without renewed coordination. Security and GX. Energy security, supply chain resilience, and access to critical minerals are now frontline concerns. These are amplified by geopolitical tensions and market nationalism. A new paradigm of innovation must therefore couple green transformation with security resilience. And in addition to COP, new innovation ecosystem needed. Global decarbonization cannot rely on multilateral negotiations. Regional cooperation frameworks, city-level innovation ecosystem, and public-private coalitions are emerging as vital complement to the UNFCCC process. Second, next steps needed. ICEF2025 recognized that the triple breakthroughs in emission reduction, economic growth, and energy security are essential to align innovation with global action. Discussions emphasize the following priorities. First, renewable energy. Renewables now underpin energy security, fuel independence, and affordability. The drastic fall in the levelized cost of electricity for solar and wind power is happening. However, this headline figure belies a critical barrier, significant system cost of grid integration, including grid modernization, storage, and flexible load, which remain prohibitively high in many markets. An effective, efficient policy becomes crucial to reshape the market architecture, unlock and scale demand. Second, hydrogen. Hydrogen remains central to decarbonizing steel, cement, chemicals, and shipping. ICEF highlighted growing cost competitiveness, industrial demand, and cross-border demonstration projects. And the standardization, certification schemes, and de-risking mechanisms are essential to unlock large-scale investment. Third, small modular reactors, SMRs. SMRs offer flexibility, scalability, and regional resilience. ICEF emphasizes the importance of cooperation and collaboration, and next-generation nuclear innovation as part of a balanced energy mix of countries pursuing net zero. Carbon dioxide removal, CDR. CDR is indispensable for achieving net zero emissions. To accelerate deployment, carbon markets and climate finance mechanisms must evolve to recognize and reward verified removals. Fifth is the circular economy. The Asia-Pacific region is becoming a hub for circular innovations. ICEF2025 underscores the need for blended finance, innovation ecosystems, and interoperable standards to globalize circular systems. Six, sustainable data center roadmap. ICEF2025 released a sustainable data center roadmap. The roadmap equips governments, business, and other stakeholders with actionable guidance to align the digital economy with climate goals. And seventh, adaptation and global south. ICEF reaffirms that adaptation is no longer optional. Innovation partnerships must ensure that no regulation is left behind, no region is left behind in the transition. Third, conclusion. Inclusion and diversity. ICEF reaffirms its belief in the vital role of women leaders, youth innovators, and global South voices. Institutions and governance. Institutions anchor stability and confidence in the fast evolving innovation ecosystem. Security and GX. The convergence of green transformation and multifaceted security encompassing energy, food, water, critical minerals, supply chains, and cybersecurity will shape global trajectories. ICEF identified three strategic imperatives for the decade ahead. One is energy system transition and resilience. Two is the supply chain and resource security. And three is the technological innovation and global standards. And AI, artificial intelligence, is emerging as a general purpose toolkit for green transformation. ICEF calls for global collaboration to develop trustworthy, secure, and inclusive AI ecosystem. ICEF will continue to explore pathways in addition to scope, building coalitions that connect policy, finance, institutions, and innovation to realize the goals of the Paris Agreement and to shape a future where innovation drives both transformation and security. Thank you for the kind attention.
Thank you, Professor Dr. Yamaji. So next, we would like to ask Mr. Tanaka Nobuo, Chair of the ICEF Steering Committee, to give a summary of ICEF 2025. So, Mr. Tanaka, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. I always say some provocative things in the opening and the closing, so I will do that again. At the beginning, I mentioned about this petrostate versus electrostate. And this conflict or battle is certainly making a big scene in front of us, and how we can cope with it, especially for Japan and Korea. China, Europe is creating a anti-fossil fuel or decarbonizing coalition, while United States, Russia, and Saudi Arabia is creating a fossil fuel union. So which way we should go? It's obvious that Japan and Korea should go to the same direction as electrostate, maybe proton state like hydrogen, but that's the only way. So security issues and green transformation is inseparable. That is the statement of the steering committee, and I like that most. Security, for the security, definitely we should spend money for hydrogen, carbon removal, and reducing the energy consumption or carbon consumption, and making the coalition with the Asian countries. This kind of thing is obvious. And I think we have to do more on the nuclear. That is my favorite subject. And small modular reactor, unfortunately, is not so popular in Japan, but we have to do much more seriously about this direction. And the role of women in the nuclear, which I mentioned particularly, the importance, and unfortunately, as Sakane-san pointed out, gender balance of this year's ICEF wasn't that good, so we have to definitely improve next year for that direction. And also, Ismail told me about, for the electrostate, the connectivity among the electrostate is important. That is exactly what I mentioned about Asian supergrid. Japan, Korea should work together with China, maybe, of connecting the power lines or the hydrogen pipelines. And this kind of infrastructure is a very basic thing for the electrostate to be energy secure. And ASEC, the METI has long been trying very hard to the collaboration with Asian countries in ASEC, but we have to upgrade toward the future collaboration with this kind of subject, which I have been saying for years. Unfortunately, we haven't done yet, but probably next year we have tried this kind of long-term vision and very visionary concept of electrostates connectivity toward the future. With this security-related expenditure, the cost of electricity or cost of energy could be higher in the future. It is very tough challenge for anybody, especially for the government policymakers, because minority government should live with the other opponent small parties. And there's a temptation of spreading public expenditures to the consumers. But this is not really responsible policy. We have to take many serious responsible policy for the security, not only energy security, but the security for the all. And infrastructure, investment is important on the infrastructure. So infrastructure, it could be hydrogen, it could be CCS, it could be renewable, but very drastic infrastructure investment policy is definitely necessary for Japan. Finally, I really feel very happy to have the young startups talk about the circular economy under the chairmanship of Sakane-san. That gives us hope. The young people moving toward a very difficult, challenging subject, but certainly this is the way we have to continue. And I'm sure that probably in the next year, we will have the second version of this panel, and I really enjoy this discussion. I'm getting a little bit, starting as a little bit pessimistic thought about this reality of the 1.5 degrees Celsius target. But after 2 days of discussion, I learned a lot. Just as somebody said, I learned a lot all the time, something new. And I'm trying to test my ideas and be provocative a little more. And always, I'm very happy to work with my very good friends in the steering committees. And thank you very much for your contribution. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tanaka. And lastly, Mr. Fukumoto Takuya, Deputy Director General for GX Policy, Innovation and Environment Policy Bureau, Ministry of Economy, Trade and Industry, will close ICEF 2025 with a few words. So, Mr. Fukumoto, please take the floor.
Thank you. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Taku Fukumoto, responsible for innovation policy and green transformation policy at the METI. It's both an honor and privilege to deliver the closing remarks for the 12th Innovation for Green Earth Forum, ICEF, after 2 days of profound discussions and collaborative engagement. First and foremost, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to Chairman Tanaka-san and the ICEF steering committee members. I found all the comments at the previous session very insightful and stimulating as well. And also the esteemed speakers and everyone involved in the successful execution of the event. Your invaluable contributions have greatly enriched our discussions. This year's theme, Innovation for Green Transformation and Security, mentioned at also the previous session, has catalyzed a wide-ranging dialogue across various sessions. We have explored critical topics such as carbon neutrality and energy security, nuclear energy, as advocated by Tanaka-san, adaptation and resilience, future of renewable energy, CDR and utilization, sustainable data center, congratulations again, the roadmap, and circular economy startups, and hydrogen. A wide range of subjects are discussed. The innovation necessary to tackle climate change is a common challenge that requires a collective effort from all of humanity. At the same time, it is imperative to acknowledge the diverse opinions and pathways also mentioned at the previous session regarding decarbonization, economic growth, and energy security. The variety of perspectives presented during the sessions serves as a testament to this complexity. The role of ICEF as a platform for dialogue and the dissemination of ideas among leaders from various nations and various sectors is of paramount importance in addressing these shared challenges. In an era marked by climate change, natural disasters, escalating geopolitical tensions, and supply chain risks, the significance of innovation, dialogue, and collaboration has never been more pronounced. The theme of innovation for cool Earth and the international dialogue it fosters are increasingly vital. In the context of innovation, I would like to highlight that just this week, the Nobel Prize winners were announced, while I personally delighted that Japanese researchers are among them, knowing that this is an international conference. But it is essential to note that the foundational research for these achievements often dates back several decades. The application and the impact of such works are both significant and profound. The journey towards a cooler Earth through innovation is also a long-term endeavor, presenting the challenge of adapting to a rapidly evolving environment and rapidly changing world. The government of Japan remains committed to addressing these challenges under the concept of green transformation policies in partnership with the international community. In conclusion, I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks to each and everyone who attend this forum for your participation and contributions to this forum. Together, let us continue to innovate and collaborate for a sustainable and cooler Earth. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Fukumoto.